So you decided to moderate your drinking because quitting felt too extreme. You told yourself, I'm not that bad. I just need to control it better. So you set 2 rules, 2 drinks maximum, only on weekends and never before 5 p.m. But here's what nobody warned you about. You just gave yourself the hardest job you've ever had, and you're on the clock 24/7. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus is a software engineer, married, 2 kids, successful by pretty much every measure. When his wife told him she was worried about his drinking, Marcus did what high performers do. He made a plan. I'll moderate, he thought. 2 drinks max, only on Friday and Saturday nights, easy. He felt proud of himself. He had this handled. But what Marcus didn't know is that he had just given himself the hardest job of his life, one that never ever clocks out. He started out strong. That first weekend, he had exactly 2 beers, and he felt good about it, felt in control. But by the second week, the negotiations started. Does Thursday count if Friday is a holiday? What about that work dinner? That's networking, not really drinking for pleasure. Then week 4 rolls around. If I have 1 glass of wine with dinner, does that count towards my Friday total? Marcus wasn't drinking less. He was just negotiating more. Every single drinking occasion became a decision tree that he had to navigate. Now, this isn't what freedom really looks like, but Marcus kept telling himself he was fine. Moderation sounds reasonable. I'll just be more mindful, set some boundaries. But what it actually is constant negotiation with yourself. You're not casually having a drink. You're managing a complex system of rules, exceptions, justifications. Every single drinking occasion becomes a decision tree. Does this count? Is this a special occasion? Did I earn this? What were my rules again? Freedom would be not thinking about it constantly, but moderation means you never stop thinking about it. In recovery, they call this the mental gymnastics. Marcus developed what he called his drinking spreadsheet. He never really showed it to his wife, but he tracked every drink and created categories, built-in exceptions for special circumstances. This rule refinement cycle became his weekend routine. 2 drinks became 2 drinks on regular weekends, 3 on special occasions. Friday and Saturday became Friday, Saturday, plus Sunday if they were grilling. Only at night became after 3 p.m. because weekends, well, that's basically the evening. Then one day in session, Marcus told me, I spent more energy managing my 2-drink rule than I ever spent just drinking freely. These rules weren't simplifying his life. They were consuming it. You're not drinking casually when you need a rule book and constant mental calculations. This is really what happens to almost everyone who tries to moderate. Week 1, 2 drinks max. Week 2, well, 2 drinks on weeknights, but what about weekends? Week 3, does a beer at lunch count towards my evening total? Week 4, what about celebrations, special days, vacation? Every situation becomes a negotiation. You never get relief from the internal debate. With quitting, you just decide once. The decision is made. Your brain actually stops asking the question. But with moderation, it requires infinite willpower. It never stops. If you're working harder at moderation than you would be at abstinence, that's information. Your struggle isn't a character flaw. It might just mean you've chosen the harder path. Marcus described being at his kid's soccer game on Saturday afternoon. It's 3:15 in the afternoon. Game's almost over, and he's doing math. I get home by 4, my first drink at 5. I can have 3 and still be in bed by 11. He wasn't watching his daughter play. He was managing a drinking schedule. Before drinking, negotiating whether this qualifies as allowed. While drinking, counting, calculating, watching the clock, monitoring himself. After drinking, reviewing whether he succeeded. Feeling kind of weird even when he did follow the rules. His brain basically never got a break. He was constantly thinking about alcohol. Then he said to me one day, people who don't drink aren't using willpower all day, every day. They're just fine. I'm in a prison, and I'm both the prisoner and the guard. This is what moderation actually is. It's a full-time job. It's not casual. It's not easy. It's constant vigilance. And the one thing is, you're probably really good at it by now. You've gotten skilled at the negotiations, the calculations, the justifications. But being good at moderation doesn't mean it's working for you. It just means you've gotten efficient at an exhausting process. About 6 months into successful moderation, Marcus realized something. His entire self-concept had become, I'm a person who's controlling my drinking. At parties, he introduced himself in his head as the guy who's moderating. Every social situation was filtered through, how do I manage my drinking here? He wasn't moving forward. He was stuck in active resistance, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. That position is the most exhausting place to be. That's not living, it's managing. And there's a difference. moderation keeps you identified as a person who drinks but is trying to control it, it's not a neutral state. It's an active resistance against something. Freedom would be not thinking about it, not negotiating with yourself, not needing to elaborate on tracking systems. True freedom is when alcohol doesn't occupy your mental real estate anymore. Compared to someone who doesn't drink, they're not moderating, they're just living. They're not using some special power to resist, they just don't think about it. Now that is actual freedom. Eventually, Marcus was talking to a friend who had quit drinking entirely. His friend said, I decided once, and now I don't have to decide anymore. That one conversation, that was the one thing that actually got his attention, because he was deciding every single day, multiple times a day with moderation. Infinite decisions, infinite negotiations, infinite willpower requirements. With quitting, it's really just one decision. Yes, it's a little bit hard at first, but your brain eventually just stops thinking about it. Ultimately, Marcus, along with a lot of my clients, end up figuring out that he's working harder at moderation than he would be at abstinence. And when he stops to ask himself, is it even worth it? Is 2 drinks even that fun? Is it even worth all of this mental energy? The answer is almost always no. And to be honest, we haven't even calculated into this equation all the other things, like how his wife is constantly vigilant and counting and watching him too, and he can feel that. It's like hypervigilance on him all the time. We haven't talked about how when you're still drinking just a little, your brain doesn't really get to heal and go back to normal, so your dopamines don't reset. You don't start enjoying things like you used to again. You get some of the benefits, but you don't get all the benefits. If something requires this much effort and control, what does that tell you? Think about it for just a second. If moderating drinking is this hard, what does that mean? Maybe you're not someone who can casually drink, and that's actually okay. Or hey, maybe you are someone who can casually drink, but do you really want to? Is it worth it? A lot of times people that might call themselves functional alcoholics often stay in moderation hell for years. Now, I see a lot of people that would probably label themselves functional alcoholic, and they can stay in moderation hell for years and years because they just don't want to quit. But here's the thing. If drinking takes this much effort to manage, it's not working for you anymore. Freedom isn't being able to drink in a controlled way. Freedom is not having to control it at all. Eventually, the breaking point comes. And for Marcus, it's when his wife asked him one day, you seem more stressed out about drinking now than you ever did before you started this moderation process. He got defensive at first, but she was right. He was irritable on Sundays, negotiating with himself about whether he deserved an exception. He was distant on Fridays, already thinking about his drinking window. He was anxious at every social event, running calculations, managing his rules. The thing that was supposed to make him better had become his life. And he finally had to ask himself the question he'd been avoiding. If it's this hard, what does that mean? That's the question nobody wants to ask, because the answer might be something you don't want to hear. But I'm telling you, if you're exhausted from trying to control your drinking, you're not really failing at moderation. You're just discovering that moderation itself might be the problem. Now, Marcus didn't quit that day, but he started getting honest about what moderation was actually costing him. And 3 months later, he tried 30 days without drinking just to see. Week 1 was hard, week 2 was weird, but on week 3, something shifted. He went to a Saturday soccer game and just watched the game. No calculations, no clock watching, no mental spreadsheet. And then he told me, the silence in my head was deafening at first. I didn't realize how loud it was until it finally shut up. Now that's what freedom is. It's not managing perfectly. It's not having to managing at all. His brain space opened up for things that actually mattered. He stopped being the project manager of his drinking. And the thing that surprised Marcus the most was he didn't feel deprived. He was just relieved. The exhaustion, the mental gymnastics finally just stopped. No more negotiations, no more mental tracking systems. Not thinking about it at 4:58, wondering if 5 p.m. counts yet. Not doing math at a party, not monitoring himself constantly. Brain space that was occupied by alcohol rules became available for literally anything else. The relief people describe when they quit, it isn't about deprivation. It's about finally putting down the exhausting job. Now, Marcus doesn't call himself sober. Now, Marcus, he doesn't really like the words in recovery, so he doesn't really consider himself sober or in recovery. He just stopped doing the exhausting thing. If you're white-knuckling, trying to moderate right now, you're not failing. You're discovering that moderation itself might be the problem. Freedom doesn't require a rule book, a tracking system, a negotiation with yourself every single day. If you're working this hard to control something, maybe it's time to ask, what would happen if I just let it go? Now, if you want more content content like this that tells you the truth about alcohol without the judgment of the 12-step script. I make videos. Subscribe to this channel. It's called Put the Shovel Down. And we make videos for people who are trying to figure out what comes next. No shame, no labels, just real talk about what actually works. So hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.